Shout out to the Hype Magazine.
And we right here with the Hype Magazine. You already know what it is.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Dobie, and today, I'm taking a walk down memory lane from my youth, and we're going to talk about the game changer in spring break festivals, known as FreakNik. Now, FreakNik started out in the 80s as just a regular picnic for students with from the HBCUs, and it turned into something epic, game-changing. It is a benchmark in the history of spring break festivities. And today, we're going to talk about one of the organizers for the FreakNik reunion that's happening May 7th in Atlanta, Carlos Neal.
After 9 partners, I got you, brother.
There you go.
There we go.
So looking forward to epic discussion. Welcome, and thanks for bringing this back, man.
No, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so this is the epic party. It has blown up social media. It's been covered by everybody, the cat, uncle, and dog who has a concern within the urban community. And Sister Jones, with that flower hat on the first pew in the church, may be a little nervous, as are some other prominent people within government and business who...
Hopefully she ain't nervous when she making that fried chicken, Sister Jones. We gonna need that on Sunday afterwards. Come on now, sister.
You feel me?
Amen.
So amazing, you guys, April 7th at the Atlanta Bonfire, which is, I think, a weekly event. This is going to be a special presentation. You're going to Bonfire ATL, they call it. You're going to host a reunion, FreakNik reunion. Talk to me about bringing FreakNik and those memories back in the current day.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, pleasure to be here. Good to meet you. And you made a good point earlier when you mentioned like Sister Joan and some of the other people that, obviously are quite nervous about this event. And, this isn't my first year bringing it back. I actually brought it back in 2019 after a 20-year hiatus. Did about 18,000 people. I have seen pretty much every concern, every comment there could be. At that time, I did it with Live Nation at Solaris Amphitheater. And it was really important to me when I first brought it back. It was at that point, it was a 20-year hiatus.
Right.
And, I didn't have to deal with the city at the time. Solaris Amphitheater has a special provision. They can do events at their discretion. But it was important to me to still talk to the community so I could speak to the Sister Joneses and, the rest of the congregation. So I actually attended the NPUs there and had a chance to really hear from the people of the community where I was bringing it back. And, those things are very important to me because in the manner, I've always said it from the beginning that this is not the FreakNik of the 90s, but it's a celebration of the FreakNik of the 90s. And so as such, there are tremendous good parts of this event. I mean, the fact that it still is quite nostalgic and not only the hearts of those such as yourself, who was there, most likely at the height of it, but even those who missed it, Gen Y, Z's, they're hearing their parents, they're seeing all the different remakes of it. And so for me, bringing this back in undergrad, it was always important so I'm a member of a fraternity, the oldest fraternity, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And we've always did a party with a purpose. On college campus, we would have like the craziest parties, but then we would take those funds and go do Big Brothers and Big Sister or go adopt a highway or, give out cans good to homeless. And so what I dared to do that no one else did was I pretty much, thankfully to my late father, who allowed me to take a home mortgage loan to be able to fulfill my dream on the first one. And, I did it in a manner, I created a nonprofit around it. And we really wanted to give it like a social conscience. So, you come out, you have a good time, right? What you do is what you do. I mean, it's no different than people do in any of the other festivals that occur currently. I mean, you can list them out, you can name them out. Nothing differently happens other than a name. But, what we do is we tend, our focus is on music that made the FreakNik era popping and even reincarnations of it.
Don't stop, get it. Go ahead.
There we go. Or, as such, Quavo and them dropped the Scrub the Ground, which was the newer version of that, right?
Right.
The reincarnation of it, which they didn't necessarily get the appropriate trademark, but we'll get into that later. But for me, it's really about the culture. This isn't something I wanted to keep doing at a concert venue where I have to charge $60 because the venue is charging $15 a drink and they're keeping all the merch and vendors. So in 2020, I tried to bring it back for the second year and do it in my community, partner with a legend in my community by the name of Mr. Samuel L. Tompkins. He had a nonprofit called Another Way Out, and he had a golf course called Cascade Golf Range.
Wow.
He loved the vision. He loved the partnership. He loved the attention. Unfortunately, there was a Sister Jones on his board who pretty much shut it down. And as such, I decided that, he was in fear that he was going to lose his property because of this. And I told them I would not sue them if they do not retaliate against him. He's still there to this day. He's thriving. And we was able to bring it to Morris Brown College. Pandemic occurred. Being a novice promoter at this level, I've been promoting in Atlanta for over 15 years, but at the concert festival level, having a butter, knife at a gunfight gets, this is a big boy game. Pandemic really almost took me out the game in a sense. But I still doubled down on the philanthropic efforts. So I ended up partnering with current Mayor Khalid of City of South Fulton. We did a march on Old National Highway. If you're from Atlanta, ain't nobody marching on Old National. Everybody's going to march in Midtown. They go march over Peachtree. You got to be a special type. You got to be hood certified to march on Old National. And we did a march on Old National in response to the Black Lives Movement. It was on Father's Day. We called it Black Fathers Are Dope. Dads Overcoming Pressure Every Day. Then, from that point, 2021, Morris Brown, at that point, the board of trustees at the time, Dr. James, we said to the media, we're reuniting in our restorations efforts. Pandemic happened, and, Morris Brown didn't necessarily need FreakNik after the pandemic because of all the spotlight, and it was a great thing for them.
Right.
But because all the spotlight and all the publicity that they was having, they pretty much said, well, Carlos, we're going to do the event because we're contractually having to do it, but they was afraid of their corporate sponsors. And that goes back to some of the struggles that was experienced by promoters in the early 90s and still today, right? Because it's difficult to get corporate. I mean, this is even Jermaine Dupri just said it in an interview. He said, pretty much people came to Atlanta, I'm guessing such as yourself, Jerry, for FreakNik and never left. They stayed. And it's one of the reasons why Atlanta became known as the Black Mecca. But no one wants to, in this day and age, what gets the most coverage is negativity. Right. Is if a fighting happened or if it's, something crazy, a shooting or something crazy, everybody, it's going to make the world news. But my last 3 FreakNiks, not a single arrest, not a single fight, none of the issues or the doomsday prophecies that the Sister Jones of the world and others, the Karens, and, et cetera, have prophesied have occurred. And I've proven that it can be brought back in a socially conscious, responsible way. Still trying to get city approval.
Wow.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the fact, though, and this is just me maybe being an older Black man, stepping outside of the journalist neutrality to say that the fact that FreakNik changed the dynamic and the economics for an entire city in a generational fashion, and took away the status quo that had, it happened incrementally, but it happened, and it's solid. It's something nobody could deny. The whole face of the Southeast, not just Atlanta, not just Georgia, but the Southeast changed because people said, it's affordable to live here. People here know how to party. We could get real estate. We could buy the block here and stay, and then we could get into politics. Once you get the power, then you get the money.
This game,
yeah, that's what it is. And so it kind of pulls back for me a scene from Malcolm X when the brothers were in front of the police station, and he lifted his hand, pointed his finger in a direction, and they all did a left face and began to march off. And the cop said, "That's too much power for one man." So that's too much power for what organization? You change the fabric of a geographical area. And it's dope. And generationally, you're being accepted. Like 2022, you partnered with 21 Savage. And, I guess to co-produce the star-studded FreakNik birthday celebration. Drake came along to host.
Yes.
So now we got the international flavor, because now we got Canada dropping in. Lizzo, the amazing Tiana Taylor, Stacey Abrams, and of course Mayor Khalid. All of those were in attendance. So it started in, and Sister Jones and brother Adam, brother Malik might be, nervous about their participation back then. You know what I mean?
True.
But the fact that it is put on by melanated people and someone who's a frat, you know what I mean? And I'm presuming that after 9 is a salute to the divine 9 in some way. You feel me? We don't get into that, but you're the streets Obama.
I wouldn't say that. I would love greatness. That. Well, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, how people can be, the whole jealousy, envy type thing. Like I've always tried to embrace, I came from this, like this was, to be able to do something like this for me is like, it's bigger than most things, right? Because being born and raised from Atlanta, like I was in the 8th grade riding riding Marta bus in '96 during the Olympics because I was bad. I got kicked off the school bus. I had to go to school. I had to, but being able to witness that as younger and then becoming older. I mean, look, when I did it in 2019, I basically said, I'm gonna do a FreakNik concert. And this is coming off me taking my second concert at State Farm Arena, lost a substantial amount of money, had my business partner, run off, screw me on the cigar lounge. I had a gentleman's club here in Atlanta. I had a restaurant at one point with T.I., so being in this industry for so long, it's like, I wanted to get out that nightclub and try to get into this whole, let me create memorable experiences. And the next thing I thought of with my brother, Michael Bull William, he's currently just got off the Legends tour. He partners with Keith Sweat and Teddy Riley and them. And, he embraced me doing that State Farm Arena concert. I had booked Teddy Riley. He said, "Carlos, man, I see your vision." We got together and we said, we're going to do a FreakNik live in concert at the Fox Theater. Didn't tell Fox the name was FreakNik. Didn't tell none of the artists I booked. I just basically thought of like 8 artists I can afford within my limited budget.
Right.
You know, Luke was one of them. And then after I booked them, Fox said, tickets goes on sale today. You got to, they said, what do you call it? I said, man, I might call it like Uncle Luke's 90s, 90s dance, twerk celebration, something like that. It was like, okay, all right, we cool with that. So they said, what name is it going to be? I told the Fox Theater, it's called FreakNik. Yeah, we need you to come into the office. Literally, cancel the contract, no tickets on sale. They said, we're not doing that. We're worried about our investors. We're worried about our corporate partnerships and our relationship with the city. But Live Nation came and said, okay, we want to do it. So then once I told Luke and all the artists, I gave them the script to say, hey, I'm bringing FreakNik back. What happened? I'm like, man, Luke is going super hard. It was, the publicity was as it is currently now for the HULU documentary. It was the same. Everybody talked about it. Breakfast Club, everybody, it went viral, right? Shade Room posted, everybody. But then I felt as though he was trying to take it from me because he's the face of it, right? But smart brothers, right? We're not just a little, right. I had all my ducks in a row. I made an attorney my partner. I learned that whenever I do new ventures, it's always smart to partner with an attorney. I learned that from my gentlemen's clubs and my restaurant days. So had my attorney. We trademarked it. We did it the right way. He couldn't take it from me. He went on, the event. Everybody could see what happened. Whereas, he came there, cursed me out on stage, whatever, destroyed the room, and then went the next day. I'm bringing FreakNik back. Promoters check in with me. We already knew it. So what we did was we booked bigger artists than him. So I went and booked like 4 more artists that was bigger than Luke, and he didn't like it. But so when we say like Street Obama, it is 10 to 15 artists came out. Hey man, if you're going to do FreakNik, you should include us. And because I'm such a, I'm so like trying to be 100 everybody, I said, okay, you guys can come. I expanded my budget because so many, I'm like, you're right, I didn't include you. I didn't think of you. Same thing happened in 2021. I booked all these artists to do a 3-day event. COVID killed it. Half of them said they wasn't giving me my deposit back. And when we finally did it, they did like 10 shows in the market. Me and my team lost over $350,000 in 2021 doing that event.
Wow.
So, not being able to really properly mourn for my father that passed away in 2021 because I was literally getting out the hearse for his funeral, signing contracts for my attorney because he needed to let Morris Brown know by that Monday morning that if they cancel the contract, we're going to sue them. There are so many, like, it don't feel like Street Obama. It has been one of the hardest and most toughest things I have done in my life. And I'm being very honest.
I'm sure him being president was one of the hardest things he ever did in his life. So
I like you. I like you, Jerry.
I like you too, brother. To put it in entertainment context, what he did politically, globally, was a pretty big deal. On the entertainment industry side, because really before FreakNik, the biggest thing jumping off, and it wasn't MTV's, Summer Splash or whatever the heck they were doing, wasn't that big a deal, right? In the fact that it was just, a bunch of college kids doing nothing spectacular. You didn't break any artists. They brought established artists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't really an opportunity. It was a promotion. So as FreakNik brought people from all, initially started in the HBCUs, but you then had students coming in from Africa, Europe, Asia, everywhere to take part in this festival. Therefore, you brought together segments of the globe who may never have interacted because of the party scene. You inspired festivals like Warped Tour, which is now defunct, right? To go travel around. They tried to travel around and whatever. Was there before South by Southwest started doing their thing in Austin. This here made an impact. You contributed some, so it's bigger than just a beach party, and your ability to also take that power and become a good corporate citizen in the community, supporting causes and initiatives that mean something to the people that we serve, you know what I mean? The communities, not just by uniform being Black, but being downtrodden, having nowhere to turn, opportunities to, just maybe make a new friend. Be able to put your products. You have opportunities for vendors that may or may not have access to a large opportunity to display their wares. You know what I mean? They don't have, maybe not have the budget to do a huge ad campaign or, whatever. Over a period of 2 or 3 days, you give them access to maybe 1 million people, 300,000 people, 400,000 people to get an opportunity. So it's really bigger than a party. It's really a power move. And that's why I called you the Hood Obama. So
I appreciate that. I will tell you, hopefully these vendors, and because for us, it was intentional not to book artists this time. I felt like if I did that, my price would have had to, obviously go up to accommodate them.
Right.
But the vendors that we do have on here, the goal would be through the display of this documentary that they'll be presented to 30 million plus viewers. I mean, I'm hearing that HULU is thinking this is going to be one of their biggest documentaries ever. And that's a major thing. I will also say, for those that are doing the math, I can't take credit for creating FreakNik. I had the fortunate opportunity of meeting with Sharon Toomer, the founder of FreakNik.
Right.
And she kind of spoke to me about all the struggles from 83 to when she graduated in 88, and then when she came back in 1990 and tried to partner with some established promoters to try to really make this an organized event. And it's unfortunate that the city, did not support her at the time, because it was estimated that FreakNik brought an average of $22 million within that one weekend once a year. They knew in the third weekend of April that over 100 to 300,000 students were attending Atlanta for spring break. Unfortunately, the city of Atlanta failed to provide the proper infrastructure to accommodate those students, which led to the gridlock traffic. Then ultimately, like with any event that's not organized and controlled, such as the Philly Greek picnic, right? At one point it was really dope. And then when the others start coming and invading it, it started to move each year farther and farther away from that, what the initial vision was. And it was, so I can't take credit for creating it, but what I can take credit for is reviving it. And to your point, I mean, since I've revived it, every year I do a FreakNik festival. It's no coincidence that a major artist drop a song. And even with the 21 Savage team, right, like it was really big in 2021 when he initially did it. Imagine me losing $350,000, and then 2 weeks later I see an international multi-platinum artist with millions of fandom say, hey, I'm doing a birthday party that's a FreakNik, and I'm like, hey, I love it, right? Do it with us. Let's do it the right way. I have to trademark. Of course you can afford it. You've paid everyone else. You've paid security, police, vendors, surprise artists, staff, alcohol. You paid everybody else. I'm not even charging you. I just want to work with you for the culture. Like, yo, you're doing this. This is dope. Let's grind. He ignored me. I could have sued him in 2021. Everyone's like, man, FreakNik, but that's not. And look, if I was litigation hunting, he would have been the well to go after, right? So I'm fortunate that, his team, because in 2022, when he decided to bring it back, I said, listen, I showed grace in 2021. I will not in 2022. 2022, okay, you're going to see the corporate side of me now. And I'm glad that his team, relented and allowed us to be a part of it and do it the right way, because it was a great experience for the culture. And that's what I'm looking for. Obviously, it was good for him and Drake. They had an album. So, it was, looking as a marketing budget, because everybody talked about it afterwards. So mission accomplished. FreakNik has that power. That power has to be used for good. And I'm looking, like I've reached out to JD, I've reached out to Uncle Luke and said, look, if you guys really, about this for the culture, come work with me. Let's do it for free. Like if I don't have to pay the artist and if I could get corporate sponsors, I would love to do this for free. And that's my challenge. And luckily for me, I've been able to find MetaWorks platforms, which is a Web3 company that's in the blockchain. They have different divisions. The one specific that they decided to allow to work with me was the Music FX. And Music FX is basically, they're looking to bring the community using technology and fans to connect fans and artists utilizing Web3. Music FX came. They said, Carlos, because I wasn't going to be able to do it. I said, HULU, I'm sorry. I know we got this opportunity, but unfortunately, I can't put my family at farther risk, doing this event. And Music FX stepped up. So, and by that, now, I started out with tickets at $10. They went to $15. Now there's 20 because, we have a capacity constraint that we have to try to stick to. But, the cost of this event, even to do it this week, is over $100,000. The ticket sales that I'm probably going to generate is probably going to be $15,000. This is only possible to make it affordable with the corporate sponsorship, with city partnership. And people obviously want this. There's a demand for it.
Yeah. And thank you for your leadership and intestinal fortitude in sticking with it.
Thank you.
So once again, look, it is the legendary FreakNik Festival reunion at Bonfire ATL, May 7th.
Yes.
FreakNikFest.com
or elivetips.com. They can go to either to get their to secure a spot. And listen, this will be a live taping. Only thing that I can say is that bring big freak energy, and came up with an acronym for freak. Fearlessly reliving and embracing Atlanta's culture with a K, because you may or may not show up for a film project that you may or may not have heard of in the media.
Right. I mean, sounds like fun.
Thank you.
And amazing entertainment and memories. You know what I mean? And I'm really enjoying the fact, because they're, you think about like celebrity gifting suites and all that stuff that use brand new products to introduce and things like that. And here we have one of our own who is providing a live experiential experience to not just celebrities, but I know Atlanta gonna turn out. So that's 20 or 30,000 just from the city alone. With all the hullabaloo that has been going on behind this documentary, we're going to see people come and revisit maybe, some of their past. We're going to have people coming in just for curiosity to say, I want to see what it's all about and how has it survived this long. They'll give tribute to the longevity. They'll give, all of that. I think is very powerful. By the way, Bonfire ATL is located at 1036 White Street.
Actually, no.
Is it changed?
Yeah, so it's 1080 Bankhead. No, Donnelly Hollowell Parkway. So yeah, they actually have a compound there. They film movie projects, and I'm just going to say that's one of the bonuses that makes it so amazing. I'm able to partner with an entity that really, highlights local business artists and creatives. They don't gouge their customers. They're known for that. I'm able to partner with event producers, and PR like Chad, Karen White Agency and Cassiope Agency, where it's genuinely Butter ATL has now stepped up and said, they want to help with the promotion. Trap House Museum want to do something earlier today. So it's like now, we're getting the right people that want to do it for the right reasons. And this is what I've always envisioned and wanted this brand to go to. So very fortunate.
Okay. So look, we're talking about 20-year history.
40 years now.
40 years.
40 years since the inception.
Okay. And look at where we are. Look at the high level of conversations that have developed behind this. Look at the high level of initiatives that the FreakNik et al. Has championed in the city. Look at the opportunities for economic growth. It's given to not only the city, but individuals who then go on to provide opportunities for other individuals to feed their families because their business grew from exposure at this festival. Mm-hmm. Look at the stories that are being told about Black music history, about a whole era, a genre of music, like going from the disco to the twerk era, the creation of the twerk era, things that
they always was twerking. They was back in Africa. They
was getting it.
But they just didn't show the cameras from behind. They was getting it back then.
I mean, it's bigger. It's bigger than the music. Excuse me. Oh my God.
It's okay. It's okay. You gotta. It's after 5 somewhere.
I just came off the road and I picked up a bug.
Oh man. And I'm about to say, I want some of that. What you drinking? I need that. I need you to fill your boy cup.
It's just water. At this point, at the conclusion. So look, I would like to know if you could do it in 60 seconds. Could you give me like the defining moment when you decided that FreakNik had to make its mark?
Defining moment that FreakNik had to make its mark. I want to understand the question. We got defining moment that FreakNik
had to go from just local party for HBCU students to becoming an inclusive, safe space for people to just be themselves.
I would say in 1990. I mean, when you start getting beyond 30,000 people and you're attracting, people, it's no longer a local event. I mean, at that point, it had to grow up. And unfortunately, FreakNik never got the full opportunity to grow up like other festivals because the city, it was during the time, let's say, I got 30 seconds. It was during the heightened times of racial tension, LA riots. You got the O.J. Simpson trials. And as such, at that time, the business community was very afraid of 100,000 people that look nothing like their kids coming to town, having a good time. And unfortunately, FreakNik did not get the fair chance to grow up. And I'm hoping that I can change that now.
Okay, perfect. And what is the biggest takeaway you would like to have for this?
Just support, rather, you're sharing, rather you want to come out, rather you want to support the nonprofit, rather you want to provide in-kind services such as, Karen White PR agency and, others. At this point, we just need support, and I would appreciate it. It's needed. Even if it's moral support, just you muted, Jerry. Even if it's go, Carlos, go. I'll take that at this point.
Okay. I would like to have you back to do an extended conversation. this purpose for this one was just really to push the May 7th, but I would like to get, as we're celebrating also Hip Hop 50, FreakNik has a place in that too. So I would like to have you back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll make it happen. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Carlos Neal is one of the creators of FreakNik Reunion. Is going down May 7th, ATL. We'll have him back. We'll get deeper into the story. Support if you can.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Cause I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Cause I'm black.
It's really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out to Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.